South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard appears to have lost control of both governments. Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dolton, Illinois, is a name you may not have heard before. But trust us, after today, you'll be hooked on her story. You thought you'd seen political scandals before? Well, buckle up because this one's wild. Henyard is currently entangled in so much controversy, you'd think it's a reality show, but it's all too real. Imagine a mayor who's being investigated by the FBI for corruption, facing an eviction from her own home, and yet somehow still throwing lavish parties and threatening to arrest her own opponents. Oh, and did we mention she's running for re-election?
Does all this point the finger to Tiffany or allow me? I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
Let's dive into the latest developments, starting with the eviction saga that's currently unfolding. Picture this, Tiffany Henyard, a mayor making hundreds of thousands a year, isn't paying rent on the house she's been staying in. That's right. Despite having a high-paying job as mayor and township supervisor, she and her boyfriend Kamal Woods are behind on rent to the tune of thousands of dollars. The landlord, Janetta Hull, is understandably fed up. Hull had once considered Henyard a friend, and it seems this whole debacle started when Henyard muscled her way into Hull's rental property. Hull originally had someone else lined up to rent the home, but when Henyard found out, she reportedly insisted on moving in instead. And now, they haven't paid rent since August.
A Dolton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants her.
What makes this story even more shocking is that Henyard allegedly changed the locks on the house and even blocked her landlord from entering the property. Hull had given the couple a 48-hour notice to come and inspect the place, which is standard procedure, but instead of complying, Henyard apparently took it upon herself to make sure Hull couldn't get in by changing the locks and garage door code. Talk about overstepping. Hull, exasperated, said she feels like she's stuck between a rock and a hard place. She's already filed eviction papers, but the couple has been dodging those as well, with the local sheriff's office unable to serve them with the papers. Henyard is out here playing hide and seek with her landlord while holding a position of power.
We talked to Tiffany Henyard's landlord, and she says she came to this Thornton Township meeting Tuesday night hoping to get paid what she says she's owed.
It's a baffling situation. How does a person making hundreds of thousands annually refuse to pay an extra $200 in rent because of a property tax increase? Henyard's boyfriend, Kamal Woods, who also makes a pretty penny as part of a township program, even claimed they couldn't afford the increase. Meanwhile, the couple is raking in over $300,000 a year collectively. The audacity. Hull, in desperation, is now paying a process server just to track Henyard down and get her to court. It's not hard to see why Hull regrets ever renting to her. As a mayor, you would think they would uphold positive citizen standards. Hull said in disbelief, pointing out the sheer irony of the whole situation.
So now I have to pay a special process server in order to get them served, which is more fees for me.
Now, if you think the eviction drama is bad, wait until you hear about what Henyard's been doing with taxpayer money. It's no secret that Dolton is in serious financial trouble, and former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was hired to investigate Henyard's spending. Lightfoot's findings, absolutely jaw-dropping. Under Henyard's leadership, the village's financial situation has gone from bad to worse. In just 2 years, Dolton's general fund went from a healthy $61 million to a deficit of $65 million. That's over $9 million lost, and Lightfoot's investigation revealed where much of that money went straight into the pockets of retailers like Amazon, Wayfair, and Walgreens.
Thornton Township tonight as another board meeting got canceled because of a lack of a quorum.
And that came after a disagreement about where to hold the meeting as trustees expressed concerns for their safety.
One particular Amazon purchase that left people gasping was made on January 5th, 2023, totaling $40,000. Can you even imagine? And if that weren't enough, Henyard made 2 more purchases that same day, one for nearly $5,000 and another for over $4,700. What on earth was she buying? The excessive spending didn't stop there. In September of 2023, she splurged nearly $7,700 on Wayfair, adding to the growing list of eyebrow-raising expenses. But it's not just online shopping that's causing outrage. Lightfoot's report also revealed that the village has issued checks worth over $6 million to vendors that were printed but never sent. That's right, 589 checks were just sitting there, unpaid. What makes this even worse is that Dolton is in debt up to its neck, and local businesses and vendors are being left in the lurch, waiting for payments that may never come. How does the town's leadership get so reckless with its finances?
Right now, it appears that they're going to try to have a meeting upstairs. It is not safe up there.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the town's police officers are making headlines for raking in overtime pay that's actually higher than their annual salaries. One officer, whose salary is supposed to be $87,000, ended up making $114,800 in overtime. Another officer, with a base salary of $73,515, made over $102,000 in overtime. It seems like everyone involved in Dolton's government is cashing in while the town itself struggles to stay afloat. One has to wonder how this situation has been allowed to continue for so long. But here's the kicker. Despite all these allegations of mismanagement and corruption, Tiffany Henyard is still fighting to hold on to power. She's been in a standoff with the village trustees for months now, lashing out at them and anyone else who dares to question her authority. During a particularly heated public meeting, Henyard declared, "You all forget I'm the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. You ain't learned that yet." She was clearly irritated by the trustees' refusal to approve bills that lacked proper documentation.
It's just getting to be redundant, and we're getting tired of coming here, not having the laws followed, not having a meeting.
The trustees, in turn, have been vocal about their distrust in Henyard's leadership. Trustee Jason House publicly stated that vendors are going unpaid because there's no transparency in the village's finances, and that the board simply can't approve spending without knowing where the money's going. Meanwhile, Trustee Britney Norwood slammed Henyard, saying, "How about you be a good leader and bring proposals to the forefront so not just us, but residents and everyone else in America knows how the money is being spent." Oath. The tension between Henyard and the trustees is palpable, and it's only getting worse.
It's a power grab. That's it. Power and money grab.
And if you think Henyard is backing down, think again. Recently, she's taken to Facebook Live to address her critics and drop bombshell threats. In a now infamous 90-minute tirade, Henyard promised to seek the arrest of her opponents, though she didn't specify what charges she plans to bring against them. She accused her adversaries of being part of a power and money grab and insisted that she's the victim in all of this. All this pointing the finger at Tiffany or lying on me, I'm over it. Now it's time for me to speak, she declared during the live stream. It's clear Henyard isn't going down without a fight. What makes this situation even more surreal is that while all this drama unfolds, Henyard is still actively campaigning for re-election. Yes, you heard that right, she wants another term. Despite being under investigation by the FBI, facing eviction, and fighting with her own trustees, she's convinced that the residents of Dolton will stand by her. In a statement issued through her lawyer, Henyard said she's committed to continuing her fight for the village and believes she'll receive overwhelming support in the next election. You've got to admire her confidence, if nothing else.
Henyard's landlord showed up here to see her tenant in person after she says Henyard has been dodging both her and rent payments for months.
But let's be real here, how does someone embroiled in so many controversies expect to win over voters? Trustee Kiana Belcher, who's part of a group of trustees running against Henyard, doesn't mince words when it comes to the mayor's re-election bid. The community does not want to continue under her leadership, Belcher said, calling Henyard's decision to run again ridiculous. She went on to describe how Henyard has created chaos in the village and believes the residents are ready for a change. The irony of all this is that while Henyard claims to be fighting for the people, it seems like her actions have been anything but. From using village funds to throw lavish parties, like the recent one featuring R&B singer Keith Wyatt and rapper Jay Holiday, to using local police officers as her personal security detail, Henyard's behavior has raised more than a few eyebrows. Critics argue that instead of focusing on improving Dolton, she's more interested in her own image and personal comfort.
Just here because I'm at wit's end and I fear that I'm going to go into foreclosure soon if I can't get this matter handled.
And speaking of that personal security detail, Henyard's use of local police officers as her own private bodyguards has sparked outrage in the community. According to reports, these officers are often pulled from their regular duties to escort Henyard around town, and they're getting paid overtime for it. Some of them are even working over 100 hours per paycheck, all while Dolton's crime rates rise and residents feel less safe. Trustee Britney Norwood called out Henyard during a public meeting, saying, "We're not saying police aren't doing a good job. We're saying you're assigning all of them to be with you when they should be out here protecting the residents so we can all feel safe." It's a startling picture of a town in disarray. Henyard's lavish spending, power plays, and combative behavior have left Dolton teetering on the edge, with the village's finances in shambles and its residents growing increasingly frustrated. Yet somehow, Henyard remains defiant, insisting that she's the one being wronged in all of this. Whether it's her eviction woes, her public feuds with the trustees, or the ongoing FBI investigation, Henyard's story is one of a leader who refuses to back down even when the evidence suggests she should.
It's her fault. It's her problem, her responsibility, and she failed. She's failed everybody.
As if all this weren't enough, Henyard is also facing scrutiny over her handling of Thornton Township, where she serves as supervisor. Township records show that she and her team have spent over $67,000 on trips to cities like Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City, often flying first class and staying in luxury hotels like the Four Seasons. In New York alone, the group racked up a bill of $13,000 at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. These expenses have raised serious questions about Henyard's priorities and how she justifies spending taxpayer money on such extravagant trips.
The sheriff's been out here a few times to serve them. For a household that makes, over $350,000 a year.
It's almost as if Henyard sees herself as a character in a reality show, constantly performing for the cameras and for her critics. She's even been compared to South American dictators by some disgruntled residents who feel like she's turned Dolton into her own personal playground. The sheer amount of control she exerts over the town, from the police force to the constant self-promotion, has led to accusations that she's using her power for personal gain, with little regard for the people she's supposed to be serving. So, what do you think? Can someone who's been under so much scrutiny really expect to win back the trust of the people? Or is Henyard's time as super mayor coming to an end? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this wild political saga.